Hi, this is Ike from IkesOutdoors.com. In our previous video, we discussed what to look for when you're purchasing a bow. Today, we're going to discuss what to look at when you get that bow back to your house, or when you're making the decision to purchase that bow. There's a lot of good resources on the internet to buy used bows, and when you use these resources, eBay, Archery Talk, Craigslist, some of these things like that, you're not going to get to look the bow over in real good detail. So we're going to briefly discuss what you want to look for when you get that bow home to make sure it's, one, safe and it's functional before you get too far with it. So the first thing that we're going to look at when we get a new bow, we picked this bow up off Archery Talk. It's a 2008 Bowtech Guardian, and it's in really good shape. But the first thing that we're going to look at is make sure it's safe before we put an arrow on it, before we draw it back, before we do anything with it. So what we're going to look at first is the strings. We're going to make sure that there's no frayed strings, that none of them have been cut. Sometimes people remove peep sights, they remove loops, they take a razor blade, and it's real easy to cut these strings. So we're going to look this string over from top to bottom, really pay a lot of attention around the cam, make sure it's not frayed up there, make sure the servings are not separated, make sure everything just looks good and has good integrity to it. Check where your slider is, make sure everything's in good shape there. Make sure the string's waxed too. You know, you get these strings in sometimes and people don't wax them very often. So make sure the string's waxed. If it's not, run down and spend $3 and buy you some wax. So we looked that all over, and the string looks like it's in pretty good shape. Next thing we're going to do is, while we're looking at them strings, we're going to look at the cams. We're going to make sure, one, that there's no bends in the cam. It's not sitting in our bow funny, leaning one way or another. We're going to make sure there's no sharp edges around the radius of the cam that's going to cause some wear on our string, or even possibly cut our string. So we're going to look both of them over, make sure everything's in good shape there. And looks like everything's in pretty good shape on this one. So the next thing we want to do is we want to look over our limbs. You're going to look for any kind of hairline crack. You're going to look, of course, if there's big shards of this fiberglass coming off. That should be a definite sign that you got a problem there. So look that thing over, both of them limbs over real good. Make sure there's no cracks. You know, some of your older bows that haven't been taken good care of, that may be an issue as far as being hard to find, because it may have some hairline cracks in your finish. So look that over. Make sure there's none there. And when you go to pull this bow back, if you hear any kind of loud popping, any kind of noise that just doesn't sound right, definitely take it to a bow mechanic. You know, if you're not sure about it, it's better to take it to a bow mechanic and have him look it over than to have this thing blow up in your face, or to have a limb split, or something like that. Most of the companies now are pretty good about warranty and stuff, especially if you bought it new. They'll take good care of you. So we've looked them limbs over. Everything looks like it's in pretty good shape. You know, look over your poundage adjustments. Make sure all your E-clips are on there. You know, especially like these center pivots. Make sure your E-clips are on there good, holding them rods in. Same thing on the cams. Make sure the E-clips are on there. If not, like I said, take it down to a Bowtech. They probably won't even charge you nothing to put an E-clip on there. So make sure that your E-clips are all on there and in good shape, nothing hanging off halfway. The last thing that I look at is the riser. You know, most of these risers are made out of aluminum or some kind of fiber material. I like the aluminum. They are a little bit heavier, but they're a little bit more durable too. So the aluminum, you hardly ever have a problem really with the riser. So just kind of look that over and check your holes for your accessories, for your rest and your sights, stabilizers, stuff like that. Make sure the threads ain't messed up on them. If they are, before you try to put accessories on there, run a tap through them, get them all cleaned out and get them rethreaded. That way you're not trying to jam a bolt in there and messing them up even further. Because that is a real problem to fix sometimes. So looks like this bow is ready to shoot. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a series. We're going to take this bow from bare bow, and we're going to get it set up like this high country. We're going to put a rest on it, go through that. We'll put a nice ripcord on there. We're going to get some sights on it, show you how to sight it in. We're going to check the cams, make sure that they're in time. We'll check the tiller. We'll get this bow super tuned, and we'll start from nothing, and we'll get it down to the very end where it's super tuned and shooting just great. So be sure to check those videos out at www.ikesoutdoors.com. So thank you a lot.